lifestyle choice of a different sort. Entertainment is what I'm talking about. Manobi Adodu is a well-known actress from many movies, but she's here as the CEO of the Ghana Organization on the Fetal Alcohol Syndrome. And good morning. Welcome. It's been a while.
I've been around.
Okay. Now, I remember that you started this campaign years ago, but then it just seemed to dwindle away. I wonder what happened. Was the problem solved? Has it been improving? Is it getting worse? What is the current situation?
Well, I wouldn't say that it dwindled. What was happening was that behind the scenes, we were working with the psychiatric hospital, precisely Dr. Say, and the Dr. Baidu at the neurological department, the children's block at Kolebu, working on, diagnosing and encouraging mothers not to drink alcohol during pregnancy. So as of now, there has been some diagnosing of children with FAS at Kolebu Mental Hospital, Pantang, and the other places. And so we have been working underground. We just haven't been on air or going for walks like we used to do before.
Well, I did a bit of catching up on what the Fetal Alcohol Syndrome is, or FAS as you shorten it. And I remember what you told me the last time, but for the sake of those who might not know what it is, give me a brief sort of, layperson's description of the Fetal Alcohol Syndrome. How would you explain it to a 14-year-old?
Okay. Fetal alcohol syndrome basically is the effect of alcohol on the brain.
The effect of alcohol on the
brain of the unborn child, and then the long-term effects that the alcohol has on the individual once the child is born.
Wait, what you're telling me is that if a pregnant woman drinks alcohol, it affects the brain of her unborn child.
That's correct.
How much alcohol does it take to achieve what degree of effect, a specific degree of effect?
Well, every individual is different. Every individual has a different metabolism. So it depends on how much alcohol is taking. It could be as little as 1 teaspoon and it would affect your child because of the resiliency of the baby in your womb. And it could be as much as a whole drum before the effect will come. But whatever amount that you take during the gestation period of your pregnancy, something is going to be compromised on the child.
So what are the indications? How do you measure these effects? How does a fetal alcohol syndrome manifest itself?
Okay. When the child is born, you realize that there are a lot of facial features. One is the fact that you have a child with round eyes, kind of a flat forehead between the eyes. The distance between the two eyes are quite wide. The nose is usually sticking out, and then we have the upper lip, which we call the philtrum. That you see that you and I have lips, kind of shaped for us, but they have straight line.
This actually affects the facial features of a child.
Yes, that's the first thing.
Round eyes, smooth upper lip.
Thin upper lip.
And what about the nose, you said?
You don't have a nose. They don't usually have a nose bridge.
A nose bridge. It's very flat here between the eyes.
It's very flat between the eyes.
Okay.
And then the jaws are kind of low set, and the ears are way back and kind of sticking out. And then you have a child who doesn't suckle very well. When you breastfeed, they don't suck the breast very well. So we tend to say, as for this baby, he or she doesn't like to suck the breast. You have to give feeding bottle, because the brain, or the part of the brain that tells the baby that you have to suck the breast in order to get full, has been compromised. So they are not able to suckle the breast very well, and they cry a lot when they are babies. They cry. Sometimes they cry until they start shaking. The baby will cry and the lips will be going, like that. So they cry a lot. But now, if all these things are not seen, you realize that it takes a long time for the baby to crawl. Normally, Under normal circumstances, by 4 months, a baby should be able to sit up and hold their head up. They are not able to do that. It takes them a while to do that. They don't crawl, when they're supposed to be crawling, and they don't talk when they're supposed to be talking.
So you mean their development is slow?
It's slow development.
They don't
delay.
Take to breast milk, they don't suck breast, they
Very
can't
well.
raise their head, they can crawl in a way that you would expect naturally.
Yes, exactly.
When one notices this, being a parent, a mother or a father or other member of the family, what can be done to manage or cure this condition? Is it curable?
No, it is not curable.
There is no cure?
There is no cure for fetal alcohol
Can it be
syndrome.
managed?
It could be managed, yes.
How?
It could be managed. There are certain things that parents need to go through. Once you understand what your child is going through, you have to find a way to work with the child so that the child would basically get what you're trying to say or what you're trying to teach the child. It takes a while. Something that would take somebody 5 minutes, it would take a child with fetal alcohol syndrome about 20 to 30 minutes to get. You understand? So we just need to understand what is going on with the children and work with them gradually towards their goal.
Interesting. Now, of course, from what you've told me, it's quite easy to understand that the best thing to do is to prevent it, and to prevent it, you just avoid
alcohol.
Avoid alcohol altogether.
Before and during pregnancy, because I say before, because when you're pregnant, you don't know that you're pregnant. Okay, and FAS happens basically between the third and the 12th week.
From the very beginning of conception, almost.
From the very beginning. So you might not know that you're pregnant. When you're pregnant, usually we say, oh, I am 1 month pregnant, which is 4 weeks. Basically, it's 8 weeks, because the counting starts from your previous menstruation period.
Cycle, yes.
Okay, so by the time you realize that you're pregnant, you are 8 weeks pregnant and not 4. And within that 8 weeks, the first thing that forms when the baby is conceived is the central nervous system, which is the brain. And it's the brain that then tells the rest of the body, you have to come, you have to come, you have to come, you have to come. So once you are drinking within this time that you don't know that you are pregnant, that is the most dangerous part of the development of the child. And when alcohol goes in there, which goes straight through the placenta to the baby, it doesn't digest or anything. It just goes straight to the baby, because whatever you eat or drink is what your baby gets.
So you're giving your baby alcohol.
So you're giving the baby alcohol right from day one.
From conception. Now, you've got me really worried. I want to ask you this. How prevalent is the fetal alcohol syndrome in Ghana? Do we have a lot of it documented, lots of instances, or is it relatively rare?
Well, for me, for looking out for the features and the behavioral symptoms that you find in a child, I think and I believe that we have a lot of children going around with fetal alcohol syndrome. One, because we have a lot of school dropouts. Two, we have a lot of children who are in school but are not able to grasp what they are being taught. And three, we have a lot of children with disability that could be stemmed from prenatal alcohol consumption. Remember, I said that even 1 teaspoon could compromise a child. If the child is developing week by week, something happens every week. So it might be that the hand or the leg is developing at a certain point in time, and the baby, the mother drinks the alcohol. The alcohol goes straight to the part of the brain that tells the hand, you have to come. So then it stops. You understand? And if the eyes are forming, the eyes go this way and that way. And so you have a child with The eyes are there, but then it will be crossed, or he will be blind or something. So at every given time, we are damaging something around our babies.
It sounds to me as if you are advocating for any woman and every woman who is even thinking of
Yes.
possibly having a baby to not drink any alcohol at all.
That's correct. And also, for every young woman who knows or believes that one day I'm going to have a child, to abstain from drinking alcohol for the sake of your baby. Because it is, like we said, it is not curable. It is a lifetime disability that never goes away. It stays with the child or the individual for the rest of their lives.
Now, this condition, the fetal alcohol syndrome, it's relatively unknown. It doesn't get a lot of attention in the media. To the contrary, we see a lot of advertising of alcoholic beverages and even herbal and bitters and things that contain a lot of alcohol being advertised as beneficial, and good for your health and so on and so forth. Where can people find more information and possibly help, assistance, if they think that they have a child who might have this condition?
Okay. First of all, on the internet you can find it. GOFAS is now located at the Accra Rehabilitation Center, and you can come and discuss it with us, or you can go to Kolebu and look for Dr. Beidou, who is in charge of the children's block neurological department. Dr. Beidou also have done a lot of diagnosis of children with fetal alcohol syndrome as we speak. Dr. Akwesiose is also doing the same thing. They're doing it at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. And I think that with the advocacy that we've been doing, most of the doctors who are into mental health are also looking out for children, because there's been times where you have a child with a lot of symptoms and you couldn't put your fingers on it before, but now that we're talking about it, the doctors are beginning to look out for some of these symptoms and features on the children, and so they are diagnosing them. So if you think or you suspect that you have a child with fetal alcohol syndrome, you can talk to Dr. Akwesiose. You can call GOFAS at 027-517 0956.
0956 027-517-0956. That's the hotline of your organization. If I were a young woman, if I put myself in the shoes of a young mother, or even perhaps a not so young mother who's got a child that's not doing too well in school, or a newborn baby that seems to manifest the behavior and the conditions that you mentioned, I'll be very, very, very worried.
You should be.
Do you think that your organization has the capacity to handle all the possible calls from worried parents, mothers who think that, well, I may have had, some alcohol just in the early stages of my pregnancy or during my pregnancy, and they start calling, they start looking for symptoms. They think, oh, I think my child should be doing better in school. They start calling you. Do you think you'll be able to give them the support that they need, the special care that you say these children require?
We will do the best we can. At the moment, there are some schools in the system who take care of children with disability, and some of them have children with FAS in there, and so we would be able to direct you to some of these schools so that you can take your children to those schools. And then like I said before, if you want to have the medical system take care of it, again, you can go to Kolebu to see Dr. Beidou. You can go to Accra Psychiatric Hospital to go and see Dr. Akwesiose and other doctors. Eugene Dodoi is in the central region right now, so that people can go there and also talk to him about fetal alcohol syndrome.
Okay, lots of questions coming through. Tyrese Jason thinks that you should come to Takrady. For some reason, he thinks that young women in and around Secondary Takrady need education on the fetal alcohol syndrome. Wanabazi thinks that pregnant women should be warned to avoid alcohol intakes when they go for antenatal appointment, if that's not too late already. And Pizarro Mandela says, if this condition is so serious, why is the awareness about it so little?
Well, awareness creation takes money, and it takes a lot of resources to get that out there. We have been doing the campaign. In actual fact, we have been to Takrady before. We've been to Cape Coast, we've been to Kumasi, we've done a lot of it in Accra, and we are still doing it. But we need everybody on board, especially the alcoholic beverage industries. We're not saying for economic purposes they have to sell their alcohol. We understand that. But we need them to label their bottles, at least put it on there, that consumption of alcohol before and during pregnancy would damage the brain of your child for the rest of the child's life. This has nothing to do with a witch sitting somewhere doing something to your child, or the individual is suffering from a schizophrenia or whatever, and it is somebody doing something to that person. It is because the mother took alcohol during pregnancy. So we need everybody on board. We can only do so much with our resources, and I am really grateful for TV3 for giving us the opportunity to come and speak about it. All other stations should be doing the same thing, but most of the time when you're going out to do these things, it takes a lot of resources, and we are gathering resources to go. Recently we had a conference on it, and we had people from outside come. We even had a minister for social welfare from Saskatchewan come down to discuss fetal alcohol syndrome. So we have our international partners coming in now to make sure that we disseminate the information out there.
You mentioned the role of the beverage industries and the media. What about men? What do you think of the role of men? And I'd like to add a second question to that, and that's on a more personal note. What motivated you to become an advocate for this?
Okay, the first question is the role of men.
Yes.
Well, when a man meets a woman,
often buys a drink.
Exactly. In our society, we don't have a lot of entertainment. You understand? The entertainment that we have mostly is to go somewhere and sit and have a drink. And on a given road, you can find as many as 5 or 6 drinking spots. So it is in our faces. And that is why the only entertainment we have is to go to a drinking spot with our women, and get them to drink. My motivation started when my father died. My father is the late Ofedodo who played Accra Hearts of Oak. So when he died and I came back from the United States, I realized during the funeral, and I could be a culprit then, that there were a lot of women and young ladies drinking, and I even saw some pregnant women drinking as well. And I thought, wow, here I am in America helping mothers not to drink and helping children with fetal alcohol syndrome, and right in front of me or in my backyard it's happening. What can I do about it? So then I went back, and then I just packed bag and baggage and came home, to create the awareness, to let women know, and even not women but everybody know, that alcohol is doing a lot of damage to our children, to our society, and to our country at large.
Women in the villages need this information. Post Kwesi Ken Apre. Paito Sankuma Ebenezer says he wants to know the percentages contained in alcohol, but some women used to take it during pregnancy. And Hayford Atim Tyler says he wants to know if a man's consumption of alcohol can also contribute to the FAS, or if it's only a woman's. Interesting question there. Cloyd Amamu says, well, good morning to my lovely mum, Barbara Newlands, and my sweet sis, Aileen. What's up? That's a really nice good morning. And once again, Abazi thinks that pregnant women should be warned to avoid alcohol intake altogether. How feasible is it to make this information part of family planning or antenatal service delivery?
Okay, at the moment we're working with, there were some two ladies actually who went for a conference, somewhere I think it was in Namibia or something, on fetal alcohol syndrome. They're two doctors, and so when they came back, they contacted me. They are with the Ghana Health Service. So the three of us are going to be, we're working on getting together to get the information out there, so that the Ghana Health Service and the ministry would spearhead. And to be honest, when we had the conference, the Minister of Health really took this project on. She even met with our counterparts from Canada to discuss how best the Ministry of Health could be of support to our organization and the dissemination of the information. What we need is for the Ministry for Women and Children to come on board. Okay? We really need them to be part of this, because if we are a ministry for women and children and we want to protect our children, alcohol is one big thing that we want to protect our children from. And so we need everyone on board. But I want to say kudos to the Ministry of Health. They are doing a great job. And the Ministry of Education too. Because most of the time, to notice fetal alcohol syndrome in a child, apart from having it, when they were little, it's in the classroom that you realize that the children are having difficulty with studies, especially math. And so the Education Ministry also played a big role in the conference that we had recently.
Well, kudos to you as well, Manobia. Congratulations, and thank you very much for the work you're doing. You're always welcome here if you want to come and advocate some more or share some information, some education. You're always welcome. Amanobia Dodo is the CEO of the Ghana Organization on Fetal Alcohol Syndrome, GH.org on FAS, GOFAS for short. You can take this number down if you want to get in touch, find out more. Call them on 027-517-0956. It's a Tigo number, 027, that prefix, 517-0956. 517-0956.